Meredith Thomason, the pastry chef for Nestle Toll House, and welcome to this week's episode of Bake It Easy with Nestle Toll House. We've given you some recipe inspiration to make your holidays at home feel more special, but today I want to show you how to make that bakery-style birthday cake at home. We've partnered with Wilton Cake Decorating, a global leader in baking and decorating, to bring this special episode to you. Like Nestle Toll House, Wilton is passionate about bringing the joy of baking to everyone, everywhere, every day. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to be making a 3-layer rosette cake for our birthday cake today that has an American buttercream on it. And that American buttercream is going to be made with our rich and creamy carnation evaporated milk. Some of the other things that you're going to need to make your cake would be a turntable to help you ice your cake. This is a really nice one that we got from Wilton. And remember, if you don't have a turntable, not to worry. You can use a large plate or platter or a cake stand. You can even use the back of a sheet pan to help you ice your cake. The other thing that you're going to need to make your rosettes are obviously some piping tips, and we've got this really great collection from Wilton. And some of the specific tips that we'll be using today for our rosette cake are the Wilton 1M star tip, the number 32, 21, and 224. And to go with our piping tips, we need some piping bags. And I've got this box of 12-inch Wilton piping bags that we'll be using today. And if you don't have piping bags at home, don't worry, you can use some disposable sandwich bags or plastic bags that you have in your house. They'll work just fine. And remember, Wilton has all the tools, tips, and tricks for all cake decorators, no matter what level you are. Okay, our cakes are in the pans and they are ready to go in the oven. The oven is set at about 350 and these cakes are going to bake for 18 to 22 minutes depending on which cake mix you use. We'll get these in the oven. All right, it's time to assemble our cakes. They've been out of the oven for a little while. They are now room temperature, and I've gone ahead and trimmed the tops off of the cakes to make them even and smooth. You can just use a serrated knife to do that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna assemble our cake and put the crumb coat on it. So I've got my turntable here from Wilton. Remember, if you don't have one of these, you can use a plate or the back of a pan, that's totally fine. I also have a Wilton 9-inch angled offset spatula. This, if you look at it, it's at an angle and it helps to smooth out the sides of the cake a little bit and spread the icing. If you don't have one of these, just a normal knife will totally work fine. Okay, and of course I have our delicious icing made with our carnation evaporated milk. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of that icing just on the turntable itself to help the cake stick to the turntable. And I'll go ahead and put our first layer down, and I'm putting the bottom of the cake on the turntable itself. And I'm gonna just put a little thin layer of icing in here to get it to adhere to the layer above. And again, if you like a lot of icing, you can add more, but we don't want to make this too tall, and we definitely want to make sure we have enough icing to do the outside of our cake. All right, so if you look, I'm turning my turntable with my hand. I'm also using my offset spatula to spread the icing. So you've got motion going in 2 different directions. It looks a little wacky, but I promise the more you try it and get used to it, the easier it'll be and you'll have nice smooth layers. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and this time I'm gonna put the cut side down, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll add a little bit of icing and get that nice and stuck in there so we can put our top layer of cake on. We've got this nice and smooth and spread out. Yum, this is gonna be so delicious and so pretty. I can't wait to decorate this. Okay, so if your cake starts to wobble a little bit, feel free to stick it back together. No one wants a leaning tower of Pisa for a cake. Okay, so now we're gonna put our top layer on. And again, because the bottom is smoother, I'm gonna use that as the top of the cake. So I will put this side down. All right, and I'm gonna just press it a little bit just to make sure it's nice and snug and on there. And then, like I said, we're gonna put a crumb coat of icing on this. So it's called a crumb coat because sometimes crumbs come through, totally fine. This is just to get the icing on there. We'll go ahead and put this in the fridge once the crumb coat is on. And we're gonna let it firm up a little bit before we put our final coat of icing on it and before we put our rosettes on. Okay, I've got our crumb coat on our cake, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this cake in the refrigerator for about 15 to 30 minutes. You want the icing to firm up a little bit, but not be too hard. We just wanna make it a little bit smoother and firmer so we can put our final coat of icing on. Our cake was in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes, and I've already gone ahead and put our final coat of icing on both the top and the sides of the cake. And then with the remaining icing, I've gone ahead and colored it using some food coloring, and I've put it into our different piping bags with different piping tips. So we've got the bag, we've got the couplers that you use to secure the piping tips, and then I put a nice little band around the back so that the icing stays in there. Remember, we're gonna be using the Wilton 1M star tip as well as the 21, 32, and 224 tips. Wilton makes so many amazing tips. I know that they will make plenty that you'll want to use to decorate your cake. And also, if this is the first time that you're decorating a cake with piping techniques, don't be afraid. Just embrace the moment and look at it like a learning opportunity. So if you want, go ahead and grab a piece of wax paper or a plate, and you can play around with your piping technique a little bit before you get to your cake, just so you become a little bit more familiar with what the actions are that you'll be doing. Okay, so I'm going to start by making the rosettes closest to me, and I'm making them in a circular motion. You can make this as organic or linear as you wish. This is a really fun way to experiment and kind of bring out your creative expression a little bit. And here is our beautiful bakery-inspired birthday cake that you can make at home. I certainly hope that this rosette cake makes all of your at-home celebrations extra special. And please feel free to check out Wilton.com for more birthday inspiration and to make all of your everydays into a sweet celebration. Enjoy, everyone, and I'll see you next time.